When was the first time you met Ryan Swope? What were your first impressions, and did you ever envision that y'all were going to be such a kind of a potent combo?
I guess first time I met him was, it's probably his first week here in the summer of his freshman year. Going through 7-on-7s. I didn't know at the time. He came as a running back that was transitioning over to receiver, so he was learning the position. But as time went on, we could see how talented he was and just how fast and good over the middle he was. And I think through the years that we built up a good connection, and we had great trust in each other. And I think that's a big factor in how we perform.
In terms of personality-wise and everything, did y'all hit it off right away, or could you just kind
of? Yeah, he's a lot like me in the fact we like to keep it simple, go hunting, go fishing, stuff like that.
Have y'all been hunting and fishing together?
Fishing a lot. We haven't been hunting yet, but we've been fishing several times together.
You can probably see where I'm headed with this. Where do y'all go fishing?
Just around town, some small tanks around town.
You talk about Easy's progression over the last couple of weeks. It looks like he's really stepped up his game.
Yeah, Easy's had a great year so far for us, and especially over the past few weeks, making plays on deep balls for us, and that's huge. We knew going into this year that he was going to be a big factor for us. He progressed a lot over the summer, just cleaned up his route running. He was kind of banged up last year, and I think that really held him back from what he wanted to do and what he was capable of doing. But going into this year, he got healthy again, and we were expecting big things from him, and he's coming through for us.
Is Ryan your safety valve a lot of times or not? Or is he never a safety valve? How's that progression work?
We're a progression team, so whatever the defense gives you how you go through your progressions, and it's not like I skip over other people to go to him. It's just the way the progressions work, and a lot of times he's open, so just give him the ball.
Those 11 times he caught the ball, how many times do you think he was the first choice and just was open, so you didn't even go the second one when you guys left it?
Probably like 5 or 6.
What is it about his skills that he's able to get open and like bust out of that tackle over the middle for that last touchdown he had and things like that? Could you just speak to his skills?
First of all, with the ball, once he has the ball in his hands, he's dangerous. He played high school and run. He played running back in high school, so he knows what to do when he has the ball in his hands. You can see when he throws the short bubble pass to him, what he can do, making guys miss and get upfield, take a short pass and get 8 yards out of it. So his ability to make guys miss and run with the ball while he has it is a huge benefit for him. His balance, you saw that the broken tackle he made and then took it to the house. He has great balance. His speed. He's our fastest receiver. Runs a 4.3, and then he has great hands. He's not afraid to go up and make a play. Goes over the middle. He's our inside receiver. So there's a lot of traffic inside, and he's not afraid to go over the middle. So I think you put all those things together, he's a great receiver.
He said that he had learned so much from Ryan Tannehill as a receiver when he got here. How special is it that combination has become, and that Tannehill kind of took him under his wing as a receiver before he ever became quarterback?
Yeah. It's a real special combination, I think, and as I said after the game, I think it's become that way because the way they both practice, they practice at game speed, and then when you practice at game speed, the game's not too fast. Things don't change, and so the timing and the tempo of the play exists in practice, and it carries over to the game. If you're a different speed in the game than you are in practice, then it's a little hard to make those hookups, but because they both practice at game tempo, I think that it allows them an opportunity to have be on the same page totally on game day.
Coach, how complete a performance would you say your offense had Saturday? You had a lot of high-scoring games. What is this rate?
I don't know. I'm still frustrated about that first interception on the screen pass. It still lurks in my memory. My wife always tells me, "We ever be happy?" She says, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, I threw that interception on the screen, the first drive down the field." But I thought it was a solid performance. I thought we did some good things. I think the turning point in the game, because the game was in the balance the entire ball game, but the turning point I think was the 4th down stand by our defense. that allowed us an opportunity to get the ball back, and then the offense taking the ball 96 yards for a touch, 94 yards for a touchdown. I think that was a turning point in the ball game. You know, I was pleased with the offense. There's some things we need to get fixed though.
Coach, what did you see from the offensive line after watching the film?
Well, it's you know, when you have 5 guys in there and they play 80 snaps or 79 snaps, whatever it was, and they don't make a mental mistake the entire ball game, I don't think they had a penalty either. That's pretty spectacular to have a group that goes through a game without a penalty or a mental missed assignment. You know, considering you have a freshman, 2 sophomores, and 2 juniors in there, so it's a relatively young group. So, you know, and they demonstrate a lot of toughness, you know, savvy. They want the game on their shoulders. They wish we ran it every down, which is what you want from the offensive line. But as I said 3 years ago, and I continue to say it, I mean, nothing happens offensively if those guys aren't working and having success. You know, to protect the quarterback, which allows us to get the ball down the field. If we don't protect on Swope's touchdown, on Wachiku's touchdown pass, we don't score. And if we don't run block well, we don't get the rushing yardage we want to get in the ball game. I think we've been able to have pretty good balance this year, running and passing. I think we're running a little bit more than we're passing it, but that balance is pretty much predicated on your abilities of the offensive line.
How good has Patrick Lewis been adjusting to center?
Patrick's adjusted to the center position extremely well. He's very knowledgeable. He's physical. He's tough. He's a hard worker. I got on him out there one day practice. I think it was Wednesday. He didn't practice as well as I wanted him to, and you know, it turns out he had the flu and he's still practicing out there. I didn't even know about it. So, but he wasn't going to miss practice. But you know, he's a big component of that offensive line. He's the glue in that group.
How much improvement have you seen from Jarvis in the 2 games that he started?
Yeah, he's a phenomenally talented athlete. He's a 315-pound man that can run like he runs. He has to learn to finish a little bit better, but fundamentally, Coach Turner's got them all coached up to be very fundamentally sound, and they're good with their hands, and he needs to finish a little bit better, which I think he'll eventually get to. Been very impressed with his development. Be anxious to get Cedric Aboye back as well to add to that group, because he had a good game previous to us having to sit him down because of his injury.
Could Aboye have played on Saturday?
No.
What's your philosophy on trick plays, Coach? We saw a couple this last game.
Trick plays, if they work, they're great. If they don't, then it's 2nd and 10. So, you know.
So you're so on them?
Yeah, no, I like them. I mean, you know, we had a philosophy going into this ball game how we're going to play it, and you know, a lot of it has to do with the edge rushers, who's coming. You know, can you do this play because of this player, and so forth and so on. So, you know, I think I never want to be a trick 'em type team necessarily. I think you have to have some tricks to keep people honest and keep the kids exciting. We certainly practice them on a weekly basis. So it kind of get to the point where, you know, I keep on saying to the kids, I say, we got to cook this a little longer, we got to cook it a little longer. And finally, you know, they're saying, hey, the coach is burning up. We got to pull the plug on this, or run it, so we ran it.
How is Coriel Judy? Is there an update on him?
He has a hamstring strain, and for this week, it would still be questionable.
Is there anyone else in the questionable to doubtful to out?
Garrick Williams might be questionable as well.
What did he do?
Ankle.
Sean Porter, he kind of stepped to the mantle for Von Miller, you know, the Von Miller guy for this year's team. And Von was a legend, I guess, already. How do you...
In his own mind sometimes.
Well, I think Aggies love him. And, but how do you prepare a player to... I mean, that's got to be tough for Sean mentally with those kind of expectations.
Yeah, I told Sean just has to be Sean. He doesn't have to be Von Miller, he just has to be Sean Porter, which Sean is very fine with that. Sean's not trying to mimic or imitate anybody or be like anybody. He just wants to be the best Sean Porter he can be, and that's all we're asking out of him. I mean, you know, Von Miller was a unique talent to be a long time before there's another Von Miller. You know, those guys don't come around very often, the number 2 pick in the draft. So it's evident by the fact that it was a long time before before we had a number 2 pick. So, but Sean Porter is playing up to his potential and beyond, and you know, he's the best Sean Porter that we have, and that's good.
But I guess it's like somebody leaves and the next person in to take his place is always going to have more weight than like somebody 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So he's handling all that. Okay.
Oh, I think so. I don't think he thinks one thing about Vaughn or what Vaughn did. He's just worried about Sean Porter. And you know, Sean, he's very pragmatic, and he doesn't. I don't think he thinks outside that like that. He's just worried about himself.
By the way, he's a real charmer and all smiles with us too, so.
Well, good. He's a lot like me, I guess.
Can you talk about Jeff Fuller and how close he is to 100%? It looked like you guys tried to get him more involved, moving around the slot. Can you just evaluate where he's at right now?
You know, one thing about Jeff, you know, you have to understand how much practice time he's missed. And Jeff's a guy that has always been a hard worker, and he loves his repetitions in practice, you know, to master his craft. And so he hasn't had the opportunity with the concussion and then with the hamstring holding him back to get the repetitions in practice that he is so used to having. But I think we're very close right now. I think this week will be hopefully his breakout game. He still had 7 catches, and everybody's saying he did everything we asked him to do. I know he had a drop or 2 on some quick passes that were against the corner fire, but I thought he did a nice job in the ball game. But he'll continue to improve. I mean, last year Vaughn was injured the first 3 ball games and had the season he had. So Jeff will continue to feel more comfortable out there and get done when he needs to get done.
How much practice is he missing, Jeff?
Nothing right now.
He's not missing.
He won't miss any this week.
But previous to this.
It's just the cumulative amount of time that he's missed because of the hamstring that's held him back. You know, we couldn't really push him through, you know, amount of repetitions. We go a lot of reps in practice, and we had to limit his because fatigue on that hamstring could possibly ignite a pull of strain.
Is Cyrus in the same condition as far as having to miss some practice time, some practice rounds?
No, not necessarily.
How would you evaluate DeMontre Moore's game and how he was disruptive for y'all and how much it helps your defense,
Yeah.
honestly?
I thought DeMontre, I thought DeMontre played his best ball game. I mean, we're taking his emotion. He's a very emotional player, and we're trying to funnel it in a positive direction. And I think he's really worked hard on doing that. And you know, sometimes he's a little bit on the edge, and we got to kind of pull him back in. But I thought he really played his best ball game of the year. We know he was not offsides, that I can recall, and you know, stayed out of any ruckuses for the most part. And I thought he played real hard. You know, we didn't play him as I think he only had 40 snaps in the game, which seems to be a good number for him. You have to understand when you're playing against these hurry-up teams, they get these multiple reps. It really stresses the defense. And you know, you can be a heck of a player for 40 plays, but maybe a so-so player for 70 plays. You know, so I think the fact that we minimized some of the repetitions our guys had allowed us an opportunity to play a little bit better at times, and I think DeMontre definitely benefited from that. But I agree. I think he played a very good ball game. I thought he was right up there at the top.
How pleased have you been with Randy Bullock's perseverance throughout his career?
Well, Randy's playing about as well as I ever remember Randy playing. His kickoffs, you know, if he has a little bit, you know, if he's kicking in the proper direction, that ball's going to be in the end zone, out of the end zone. And his field goals have been very, very good. You know, he's very dependable. And so I'm very pleased with the development of Randy Bullock. He's really put himself into another category.
What about facing an Iowa State team that's lost 3 in a row, kind of backed against the wall, coming out swinging?
Well, it's also the same Iowa State team that beat Texas last year, that beat Iowa this year, that beat Texas Tech, I think, last year or the year before. So, I mean, trust me, I have the utmost respect for Iowa State and what they're capable of doing. We're the homecoming game, so they're 2-0 with homecoming games, so we know we're up against.
What's the